Hey guys, this is Chris on the Legacy team. I wanted to show a tip today within the Vectric CAD/CAM software. This is coming from the latest project that we created, the bar stool project. And this is going to be from the double-sided seat. I talked about in that video an old method that I used to use that made it so it was difficult to get alignments correctly, whereas a new method that makes it really, really simple, regardless if I didn't cut my blank to the right size. So I want to show you those differences here in the software from the original method versus the new method that makes things a lot easier. Okay, so in Aspire, let's go here and create a new file. And here we have the ability to choose different type of setups. We can do a single-sided, a double-sided, and a wrapped rotary. Since we're talking about double-sided, let's start with the double-sided to see what we can do with this setup that is already pre-built into the software. I'm just going to make my blank size 12 by 12, and I'll make it 1.5 inches thick, just something easy to work with. And here we can choose a Z0 location. Now what the software has done is they've thought through the process of when you flip from side 1 to side 2, it allows us to manipulate the Z0 in different ways. And let me show you. So the first one is we can make Z0 the same top surface for side 1 and side 2, or you can make it the bottom surface for side 1 and side 2. Right? Now that doesn't mean that's not the best way of following an edge as you flip it. So they added this option to say 0 off the same side. So if Z0 was on the bottom for side 1, when you flip that part over, that bottom edge now becomes the top edge, and so you would make the top your Z0 for side number 2. Now in the seat video, I actually did the opposite. I did the first side where I did the mortises on the top face. Then when I flipped it over and planned to shape and cut out my seat, the Z0 was on the bottom of the part for side number 2. And that's the exact setup that I followed. Now the one thing that the software does not have here is it doesn't have the ability in this double-sided function to follow the XY0 as well. So we can follow the Z0 between side 1 and side 2, but we can't follow XY0 between side 1 and side 2. Okay, and I want to show you where that runs into a limitation. So let's say we set it up to flip horizontally just like we did with the seat, and we push OK. All right, now here is what we're going to do. We're going to draw an elliptical shape here, saying that we're just going to cut something out of the shape, and I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees so it's not symmetrical in any way. It has a different layout for side 1 and side 2. Okay. Now the most common thing that causes the problems with this technique is if we have our blank, I'm going to draw a rectangle here, that isn't the exact size of what was called for in the software. So the software, we said we're calling for a 12-inch by 12-inch blank. But here, let's say this was 11.9 by 11.9, right? You may be that far off. You may be less than that. Regardless, I just want to show you a more dramatic example so you can understand what's taking place here, okay? So this is going to be side 1. Now to flip to side number 2, you just click this button and it flips over to side number 2. I don't have any vectors on this side yet, so let's go back to side number 1 and use these to copy and mirror to side number 2. So I'm going to take these, I'm going to select them and then right click and say copy to other side. And so now if we flip over to the other side, this now has side number 2. Now the one thing that is going to happen, I want to point out, is the bottom left corner is XY0, so the edge of the parts are going to be aligned with XY0, and we can even set a fence on our CNC, right, for that corner. And if we cut the blank out, let's say we were off by 0.1 inches from what was called for in the software, that's the difference here, is 0.1 inch off in the real life versus the software world. Okay, so if we go to side number 2 now, what's going to happen is when we make the bottom left corner the same XY0, that corner there is going to line up with the XY0, right? Because if you have a fence on here and choose to make that corner XY0, that edge is now being aligned just like side number 1, right? So we have the same gap on the right side because XY is always staying in this corner. Now you can see that when we do that, when I shifted that back to that corner, because that's exactly what's going to happen in the program and in the setup, we get some misalignments between side 1 and side 2. The gray line represents what's on the opposite side of the part. versus the darker lines are what we have on this face. And so whatever the distance is here of what you are off physically from the software, so in this case it's 0.1 inches off, it's going to double that. It's going to be 0.1 inches off on the right, it's going to be 0.1 inches off on the left. So if you measure from the far left edge of this edge, and then you go to the far right edge of the opposite side, it's going to be double of what your error was. In this case, 0.2 inches off. That's a big difference and something that probably you wouldn't be able to work with. Or it'd require a ton of sanding, okay? So how do we fix that? Well, the only way to fix that in this setup, where it uses the double-sided setup, where it keeps the XY0 on the bottom corner, is you have to make sure your blank is the exact size of what is called for in the software. And so if it calls for a 12-inch by 12-inch blank, you have to make your blank exactly 12 by 12. If it's oversized or undersized by even a little bit, it's going to show up in your misalignment because you're keeping the corner alignment XY0 for side 1 and side 2. Now, let's show you how to fix that, where if you are off by a little bit, can we make it so that this isn't misaligned? You absolutely can, but you can't use the automatic double-sided function that's built in here. Okay, let me show you something that's a little more forgiving. We're going to start over again. This time, instead of doing a double-sided part, I'm going to do a single-sided part representing side 1. So this will be the same blank size, 12 by 12 by 1.5 inches. This time I'm going to put Z0 on the top for this single-sided part and the bottom left corner for the XY0 on this first side. So if I push OK, we can do the exact same thing. I can draw a rectangle here that represents the size of 11.9 by 11.9, which is the same amount that we were off on the first example, right? Okay, so the software is calling for 12, but when I prepped my blank, I was off and I made it 11.9, lining things up in the bottom left corner because that's where XY0 is located for the part and the software. So now let's draw that elliptical again. Oh, not circle, but elliptical. Okay, something like that, and say that's again rotated at 45 degrees, and that is side number 1. Okay, now to flip to side number 2, we don't have that flipping option anymore. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to use a feature called sheets. And this allows us to create multiple components laid out on the same drawing board. Okay, I'm going to retitle this one first. I'm going to call this one side 1. Okay, that makes sense. And if we go add a new sheet, you can see it adds a sheet to my list here, and if I click on it, it selects it. I can also double click on one and it will select that sheet as well. So this is side 1, and this is sheet number 1. Let's retitle sheet number 1 to be side 2. Okay. Now all we have to do is bring over our vectors. And so if we take this and we go right click, copy to the sheet side number 2, it creates a duplicate on side 2, and we can go over to side number 2, and we have to make one change here. When you flip the part, the design also flips, so you have to mirror it. So if we select all of our vectors and we use our mirroring tool and make sure we're not creating a copy because we already have everything we need, and we flip horizontally, you can see that instead of the original rectangle was lined up with the bottom left corner, right? There was no gaps here. But here, when flipping those vectors, it made it so the gaps is now on the opposite side. So the bottom right corner is where there's no gaps because it's following that corner as it's flipping the vectors. If we do the same thing on the machine in real life, follow that corner and make that our XY0, everything will line up perfectly, even if we don't have the right size blank truly cut in the physical world. So let's go change this XY0 for side number 2. So I'm going to come over here and right click on side 2, edit. And right here, instead of the Z0 being on the top, that was side 1, we're following that face. It is now on the bottom face for side number 2. And if we're following the corner, that is here on side 1, and we flip it, that corner now aligns here to the bottom right corner. Okay, so we select bottom right. And now everything is lined up the way it should be. And we've set up our X and Y and Z zeros to follow that same point, that same corner from side 1 to side 2. This is by far the simplest and most accurate way to do double-sided parts because it has built-in forgiveness. If your part isn't the exact size of what it calls for, it doesn't matter. Follow that corner, everything else will turn out. The other thing that's critical for double-sided parts is to make sure that when you're flipping along a side, see, we're flipping horizontally, so that means my bottom edge needs to be perfectly parallel and true to the machine. So your fixture is really important along the bottom edge so that when you flip it over from side one to side two, one side isn't twisted and misaligned from the other. So these edges need to be parallel to one another in the machine. So if you follow those practices, you're going to find some really awesome success doing double-sided parts.
Now, if you have any questions about this double-sided technique that was shown here, or if you have any suggestions on how you would approach a double-sided process, then feel free to leave those questions and comments right down below. Now, if you're interested in learning more about a legacy CNC system, don't hesitate to visit our website at legacywoodworking.com. If you're interested in looking at the Vectric software that was shown throughout this video, go to vectric.com. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.